It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. In today's video titled Coffee and the U.S. Economy, I'm going to be sharing a new dream. But before we get started, I am not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I am simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. So as I get into this dream, I want to look at Brazil in two ways. Brazil. The first way I want to look at Brazil is as it relates to coffee in the U.S. economy. And the second way that I want to look at Brazil is as it relates to a timestamp for the U.S. economy. So now let's have a talk over coffee. We know that coffee is a stimulant. And what does a stimulant do? A stimulant does things such as enhancing alertness, attention, motivation, cognition, mood, and physical performance. And that is because of the caffeine. When we talk about coffee, we know that the top producer for coffee is Brazil. And for over 150 years, Brazil has held onto its first place position as the world's largest coffee producer. So now getting into the dream. In this dream, I saw another YouTuber, and he was simply holding a silver serving tray. I looked at him, but he said nothing to me at all. And so I looked down at this serving tray, and I saw 3 cups of coffee, and each cup was the same size. I know in the drawing, 2 looked bigger than the other one, but they were all the same size. And I noticed that all of the coffee was light brown, as if a creamer had been added to it. And on the perimeter of each of the cups, I could see Cool Whip. Cool Whip was kind of meshed to the side of each of the cups. And then I noticed in the middle, there was something written. And the writing inside of this cup was almost as if you see how people take coffee and they put in the creamer or whatever that is they put in there and they make designs. Well, this was almost like that, except for it was like actual letters, and it was very, very legible. And so 2 of the cups said U.S. economy, and then the 3rd cup said world economy. And so I began to think and pray on this dream as it relates to coffee. Again, thinking about Brazil. And so I'm like, okay, God, so where is this going as far as this coffee? But I feel he's showing me is that coffee is a stimulant. And seeing the words U.S. economy written inside of this coffee drink represents a need for the U.S. economy to be stimulated. The U.S. economy will need something that will enhance its alertness, attention, motivation, cognition, mood, and physical appearance. And the fact that there were 2 mugs means that the U.S. will need twice as much stimulating as the rest of the world's economy. And thinking about this stimulating need reminded me of stimulus checks. So we know that stimulus payments are made by the government to individuals. And this money is directly given when the economy is going through a downturn. The idea is to help to boost consumers' confidence and encourage spending. Well, the last time our U.S. economy received stimulus checks was in 2020 during the pandemic. That was most definitely an economic downturn. So as much as I do feel that this dream has to do with the U.S. economy is going to be in a position where it's going to need to be stimulated in some way, this is just a thought. This part here as far as the idea of a major pandemic, simply because the last time we received stimulus checks, it was because of a pandemic. But being that in this dream, I saw 2 coffee cups, meaning double stimulation, the thought of what if there is another or a major pandemic coming? Is this dream depicting that? Now that we've looked at the relationship between Brazil and coffee and the U.S. economy, I want to now take a look at Brazil as it relates to a timestamp for the U.S. economy. And what do I mean by that? I shared this slide in a previous video titled Dreams About Our Political Leaders. So in this dream that I had about Biden, I titled it The Red Button. In this dream, I saw Biden walking and he was mumbling to himself. He looked spaced out, and I saw him go over to this picture that was hanging on. It was mounted to a wall, and it opened up kind of like a secret space in the wall. And when it opened up, I saw something that looked like a TV screen or a computer screen. And then there was this red button. He pushed the red button. And when he pushed the button, I heard a lady across the way. She said, "He has doomed us all." Biden allows Ukraine to use U.S. arms to strike inside Russia. I realize now that this is the red button that Biden was pushing in this particular dream. And now the idea of war is on everybody's mind. So could being involved in a war, could that be what would require the U.S. economy to need to be double stimulated? Again, we talked about the idea of a major pandemic, and now we're looking at what's happening, what's been unfolding the past couple of days as it's pointing us in the direction of war. Or could it be a combination of both of these things? Double stimulation. Now, how does Biden and the Ukraine war connect to Brazil? Well, on the 18th of this month, November 18th, and I think also 19th, the G20 summit was in Brazil. And of course, this was the last summit that Biden would attend as far as his presidency. And the Ukraine war and all of this with Biden allowing Ukraine to use long-range missiles to fight against Russia, that was the huge elephant in the room. And of course, this decision by Biden was announced on November 17th. November 17th is when I had this coffee dream. And of course, Russia has had a lot to say about this, that Biden has fueled the fire between this conflict between Ukraine and Russia. And then there's also been those allies to Russia that has said that all of this could lead to World War III. So again, my overall interpretation of this coffee dream definitely has to do with the fact that the U.S. economy is going to need to be doubly stimulated for whatever reason. And again, the thoughts that have come to my mind is it due to the U.S. going to war? Is it going to be due to a major pandemic or a combination of both? And I think with either one of these, with the U.S. going to war or with there being a major pandemic, the stock market, the crypto market, I think that all of these things are going to take a hit. And I feel that this is going to be what's going to derive this fourth quarter market crash. All of these things together will put the U.S. economy in a place where it would need or double the coffee or double the stimulation to help enhance the U.S. alertness, the U.S. attention, motivation, cognition, and the U.S. physical appearance before the eyes of the rest of the world's economy. So let's continue to pray for our nations and all of these nations and countries that are involved in all of this. We know that the will of God is going to take place, but the fact that we are preparing ourselves mentally and spiritually for the coming of these things, then we're not caught off guard when they take place. Spiritually, God is going to put us in a place where we're able to spiritually see the things that we need to do in order to prepare for such a thing, as well as having our mind in a place where we are able to trust God during these times. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. We have the power within us to pray over our leaders and those who are governing over our country, and also the power to pray for those in other nations, whether right or wrong. God is going to right the wrong either way. It is just up to us to trust God, to put all this into God's hand, and to allow whatever God has willed to take place. So that will end our coffee talk for today. If there's anything more that God gives me as it relates to this coffee dream and anything in addition to what I've shared today in this video, I will definitely be sharing that. Until the next video, God bless.